Hi, I'm Dana, and welcome to another episode of Learning to be Autistic. I started this series a little while ago because I got my autism diagnosis at 21 and realised that not only was I still having to massively figure myself out as a person, and still am, but I was also having to learn what it means to be autistic to me, what it means to be an autistic person and get through the world as such and the like. So I started this little series to help figure myself out and possibly, perhaps, maybe help some other people. I'm trying. So I'll link the first episode up here if you want to go back and watch from there. But for today's episode, I want to get into having fun as an autistic person. Now, I've seen posts on Reddit and all sorts of places being like, my autistic son is 8 years old and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with him. He just stays in his room playing with his toys or doing this in his room. How am I supposed to get my child to have fun? And like, honey, they are having fun. You just need to go be a part of it, you feel? I just think that autistic people's idea of fun is like highly misunderstood. So here's a little bit of relatability for the autistic people and a little bit of education for neurotypicals, hopefully. Now, my entire opinion on autistic fun, I suppose, is what we'll go with for this video, is that it's highly dependent on the person, as all fun things are, but also that it's highly dependent on what you want to view as fun. I'm going to start off by talking about kids and then move on from there, because I think one of the times that I had like the most fun in my whole life was when I used to just play on my own. You know, whether I was playing outside pretending to be in Lord of the Rings or playing with dolls inside. I was a very happy child when I was just playing on my own, left to my own devices. So I think it's kind of really quite funny and bizarre that parents worry about their kids playing alone. I think that, you know, I get why you want them to play with other kids too. You've got to develop some social skills and learn how to make friends and learn to share and play with other people. I get it. But if on the whole your kid prefers playing on their own, let them do that sometimes. Like, my parents constantly tried to encourage me to always play with other people. I didn't want to. But alongside that, the things that an autistic child finds fun might just not be things that you think would find fun. Like, I know someone who knows a kid that's autistic and they really like maps, you know, so they'd be sitting looking at maps and looking at flags and things, and I think a neurotypical would look at that and be like, oh, that poor bored child having to just look at a map. And he was probably loving it, you know? There's so many things that autistic children will find fun because they play into special interests or sensory needs. And that goes for adults as well. And people don't expect the person to find it fun when we do. And that's not an us issue, you know? Another example of that is that last year I went to see a friend so that we could go plane watching. And admittedly, I'm not a big plane person. It's not one of my special interests. But everyone that I told that was neurotypical was like, you're going to look at planes? Won't you be really bored? And I was like, no, why would I be bored? I'm with a friend, I'm outside, I'm seeing things that I don't normally see. That's fun. It's fun. But people were expecting me to come back and be like, oh, that was so boring, I hated it. I had a great time, I had loads of fun. There's a video I'll link here of my experience doing that. But, you know, just the things that I find fun may not always be the things that other people would expect to find fun. And that's okay. But at the same time, I think that a vital part of having fun is having the right situation and the right setting and the like. The thing that really inspired this video is that a couple of weeks ago I went to a party, like an adult grown-up house party. And it's not my first one. I'm 24 years old. I've been to a few parties in my time, but I hate them. I hate parties. They're too loud, there's too many people, I don't normally know many people, I don't really want to talk to a load of strangers, and there's too many drunk people, and there's like too much going on, and I'm overwhelmed, I'm tired, I want to go home. You know, I'm not a party girl. But this party that I went to, I had fun. Like, I'm still amazed, I'm still a bit blown away, because I went to a party, I was there for like 5 or 6 hours, and I really enjoyed myself. I had a lot of fun. You know, I didn't get overly drunk, but I had a few drinks. I spoke to a lot of strangers and actually enjoyed speaking to them. I liked the music that was playing and it was on a reasonable level. You know, I always thought that I just wasn't a party person. You know, like, I'm autistic, I want to go home, I don't like parties. Turns out I just need to be at a party with the right type of people who understand how to throw a good party, I guess. Because, like, I didn't have to say, like, oh, I have some sensory issues, I'd really appreciate if you turn down the music. They just had music that I liked, on at like a reasonable level where it's like I can hear the music, I can dance to it if I want to, but I can also talk to people and hear what they're saying. You know, and that's the other big one, is that when I've been to parties, there's a lot of Nicki Minaj and Doja Cat, and you know, it's not music that I heavily dislike, I don't mind it, but when that's all it is, it's like, I don't listen to this. I'd really love to hear a bit of Madonna or Foo Fighters or something that isn't just modern pop. You know, no shade. I think it's a perfectly valid type of music. I understand that that's what most people listen to. But the party I went to that I actually enjoyed had a wide range of genres, to the point where like I had the one of the people whose party it was explaining a type of genre to me because I'd never heard it before. And it was interesting and it was fun and I enjoyed myself. And it really gave me the realisation of like, I don't think it's that I don't like parties. I think it's that I've gone to parties where it's not a kind sensory environment. People don't care about it being a kind sensory environment. The people that are there aren't the type of people I find interesting or the types of people that I want to speak to. You know, I think I've said it before, but I think one of the most vital things that we can do as autistic people to be happy in life and be able to build up relationships and friendships and strong social communications and exchanges, I suppose, is to find the right types of people. And I think a lot of the time that will mean that they're neurodiverse people. And this would be the first party where I heard people talking about neurodivergency and gender and sexuality. You know, there were just a lot of different types of people. And it's one of them where, you know, you may not understand my exact struggle, but you've had a similar one and we can connect on a level that I usually don't feel like I can with a lot of people. You know, like I spoke to probably, I want to say at least like 5 or 6 fresh new people that I'd never spoken to before, like full, fairly long conversations. And I actually enjoyed them. I really engaged in these conversations and felt like what I said was being heard and felt like I wanted to listen to the other person because I actually found them interesting. And it was an entirely unique, brand new experience to me. I've never experienced that. It's insane. It's so fucking bizarre to me that like could I have been doing this the whole time and like enjoying parties if I'd just been to the right one? But also, how do I find out about other parties? You know, and that makes me think that I do sort of like, in a lot of ways, I feel like there's barriers for me to access things, like a wide array of different things in different parts of life, because I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how I'm supposed to find out about jobs. I don't know how I'm supposed to find out about parties. I don't know, you know, like one of the people I met at the party I have on Snapchat now, and I really enjoyed speaking to them. They were really cool. I'd really like to be friends with them. It's been weeks since the party. I haven't said anything to them because I don't know how I'm supposed to initiate a conversation with someone outside of that party environment when that's where I met them. So there's that barrier there. And I think that a lot of the time we can feel like there are barriers in our lives towards having fun as well, because is it going to be something people accept as being fun, you know, or are you going to have the situation I had where everyone's like, why are you going plane spotting, why are you doing that? Because that made me kind of sad and uncomfortable because I'd been really excited and looking forward to meeting my friend and seeing some planes. And, you know, I knew it was going to be a good time and I was looking forward to it until people started having a negative, poor reaction to it. And I understand that a lot of people probably then just wouldn't do that again, or at least wouldn't tell people about it and whatever else. And that's a little barrier to stop us from having fun. And I think there's probably quite a lot of societal barriers in the form of like societal pressure. Because, for example, I love Comic-Con. Comic-Con's one of the places that I've probably had, like, the most fun. And especially when I was a teenager and I was a little bit, like, less self-aware and a little bit less afraid of being cringy. You know, I had a lot of fun at Comic-Cons. But there's also the social connotation of, like, God, you're a fucking nerd going off to Comic-Cons. Oh, do you cosplay? Do you dress up as little characters? You know, I got picked on when people in high school found out I went to Comic-Cons. It wasn't a fun time. And, you know, that probably does contribute to why I had a solid, like, 5 years where I stopped going to Comic-Cons. I didn't want that societal bullshit, you know, because it really is more upsetting and, like, damaging emotionally when you're having fun and other people are shitting on you for having fun. So then you kind of don't want to have fun because when you do, you get shit on. So that becomes yet another barrier in the way of at least me as an autistic person having fun. I don't know if everyone feels that kind of thing. You know, I don't mean to get super deep, but I feel like society kind of does that to everyone. That's why we have like guilty pleasures. Why can't you just say that you like a rom-com or a cheesy pop song? Why does it have to be a guilty pleasure, a thing that you enjoy that you're guilty about? Like, just fucking enjoy it, just have fun. But we can't. We all like put this pressure on each other and feel it from outside forces, and it's shitty and bizarre. And as much as I try to keep things positive and upbeat, I think that we can, like, as autistic people, also quite often be barriers to ourselves. Because I know that I've had a bunch of times where I've been like, I don't want to go and do this thing. I'm not going to enjoy it. I'd rather read or paint or do this thing at home. But I felt forced into it. I felt like I don't have a way out, so I've gone. And I've been like, you know what? I enjoyed that. I had fun. You know, especially bowling. Weirdly enough, I always get real anxious about going bowling. I get anxious about anything where I feel like I have to have some degree of skill in it. I'm like, what if I gutter every ball? I'm gonna be humiliated. And it's really not that big a deal, I know, but that's how my brain works. But every time I've been roped into going bowling by friends or family or whatever, I fucking love it. I really enjoy it. But I'd never think like, oh, I should just go bowling. I mean, obviously, because you don't go on your own, but I'd never suggest it to a friend group or like, whatever, you know, I'd never be the person to suggest it. But whenever someone's been like, shall we go bowling? I've been like, well, everyone else is saying yes, so I guess I've got to go bowling now. After the time of my life. You know, but that comes from a lot of anxiety and a lot of poor experiences and everything else. So I kind of try to forgive myself for that and just make sure that I am taking on new opportunities to try things, even if I think I'll hate it. You know, I just feel like on the whole, a lot of pity and sympathy is given to autistic people by neurotypicals because they seem to think that we don't know how to have fun, or the way that we have fun isn't actually fun, or some neurotypical crap. And that's not the case. Autistic people have lots of fun in a variety of ways. And, you know, a lot of autistic people be having fun in ways that I wouldn't find fun, and in ways that where I'd look at it and be like, God, that looks boring. But they're having fun and I'm not shitting on them for that. So why is anyone else? There's no need to. People have fun in different ways. And, you know, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else to do so, it's fully valid. I just think people should be recognised for who they are and the things they want to do, instead of how we're supposed to be or how other people do those things or all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. You've sat through this whole video. We're approaching the end. You know what I'm talking about at this point, I hope. You know, so if you're someone that used to really enjoy doing this thing and hasn't done it in a really long time for whatever reason, if you're able to, I really hope that maybe this video inspires you to pick it back up and see if you still find it really fun. If you want to let me know what you do for fun in the comments, I'd love to hear that. I think autistic people tend to find really unique ways to have fun because we are so self-sufficient a lot of the time and have to figure it out ourselves. So I just think it's really interesting and a bit fascinating. I'd love to hear it in the comments. But I'm done rambling. So whoever you are and wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And I'll see you again in a few days.